What's good, people? Welcome back to the Natty Standard podcast. I'm Kieran, and I'm with
Connor.
Yep, and our illustrious guest today, none other than Mr. Reece Kyffin himself. How you doing,
Thanks for
mate?
having me, guys. Yeah, all good.
Excited,
all good.
man.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Nice.
Oh, very
Right,
excited.
So today we'll be running through Reece's background, bit of questions on mindset and all that stuff. About you, obviously, as a competitor. So we'll run straight into it if you want.
Yeah?
Jump in.
Sound, bro. Right, okay,
Right.
I'm going to be firing off the first question for you, brother. Right, so, bit of a background story then. So, what is kind of the main reason you got into the fitness industry, started training, decided to compete in the end of the day, like all that kind of jazz?
Yeah, sure. Well, for the record, I've been training now for this is my 11th year of training. So I've been training for a while. I used to play, I think, as a lot of us did, a lot of football when we were younger. I played at a decent level. So I think I kind of got into training to just get a bit stronger, a bit fitter. Then from maybe 16, 17, didn't quite get to the level I wanted to get at football-wise. So then I was like, do you know what? Let's just fucking train a bit harder. Start obviously training from 14 years old up to the age of 16, 17. Those newbie games are obviously quite good. So I actually then ended up prepping myself for my first show when I was 17, which I didn't end up competing in. But pretty early on, fell in love with the whole like aesthetic side of like training and bodybuilding and stuff. That's from watching people like Rob Lipsett, Christian Guzman, even Physique. I don't know if you guys heard of
Definitely
him,
not.
but he was sponsored by Alphalete back in the day. Like he was one of those guys.
Yeah.
And they all obviously competed and are in great shape. So I think it just stemmed from that really. So yeah, prepped myself for my first show when I was 17. Signed up for it and everything. Me and a mate did it together. I couldn't drive. He was going to drive us up. He pulled out, so I was like, oh, I guess I'll pull out as well. And that's it really, man. I think from that point onwards, it was just a case of like, this is what I want to do. I want to fucking train people. I want to help other people go through like the shift mentally and physically that I'd gone through, because, I wouldn't ever say that I suffered mentally like a lot of people do, but, when you're growing up, you always have those little things, that you're struggling with, no matter how big or small it is. Again, it's like a perception thing, isn't it? For you at the time, it seems like quite a big thing. So I felt like I had to go through quite a big mindset shift. And for me, I just wanted to help other people kind of do the same things. Yeah, then from 17, I actually dropped out of school early to do a PT course. And 18, end up going out all the time, not really doing the PT course. So I actually qualified, just after my 19th birthday. And then no, was it 19th or 18th? I think it was just after my 18th birthday. So then, yeah, basically just competed that following April. Qualified for finals in October, started working as a PT in the September that year, 2019. And the rest is history, really. Like, since competing, I've never really looked back. So that's pretty much my background summarised.
Yeah, that's insane. It's like doing all that kind of crap at 17 years old, like 16, 17 years old, deciding like, oh yeah, I'm going to step on stage is mental. Like that is crazy to me. Like that wasn't even in my kind of like mind at that age. I didn't even think of bodybuilding as a thing. I just knew Arnie, that's it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Literally, that is mental.
Yeah, mate, I remember like thinking I was being like a class bodybuilder, taking these small like the Chinese, when you order like a Chinese and it's like the tiny little Tupperwares, like taking like 2 of those into school with like a bit of rice and a bit of plain chicken. Obviously I couldn't cook for shit when I was that age, but like going to the shop, spending all my pay from my weekend job on just like a shit little shop, like taking plain chicken, plain rice to school, thinking it was like going to help me grow, but in fact it probably actually slowed down the growth because I was probably under eating quite a lot.
Yeah. Fair play, man. That is mental. Like that is
Thanks, man.
sick.
Yeah, man. Well, second question then, mate. So obviously you've just come off the back of like an 18-month off season, just on your first show back of the season. How's that felt for you? How's that been?
Yeah, good. I didn't know what to expect, if I'm being honest, getting back on stage again. Like, obviously, my YouTube channel has been taken down for one reason or another. I don't really know why. But one of the videos I posted earlier this year, I think probably around the start of my prep, I kind of set my intentions for the season, which was, do WNBF, win pro card, PCA, win pro card. Obviously I'm a competitor. I'm competitive. I want to win. So I kind of went into this season with that intention to do that. But again, you never know what to expect, and I think the confidence to be able to kind of set those goals comes from past experience of winning shows. 2023 I managed to come second at PCA British Finals, so it kind of gives you that confidence. And then obviously when you spend 18 months in an off season, fully committing yourself to the process, putting on as much size as possible, it gives you that confidence going into it. But I think there's always, no matter who you are, no matter how decorated you are, no matter how many competitions you've done, no matter who your fucking coach is, any of that stuff, at the end of the day, when it comes around to it, there's going to be those nerves. There's going to be that second guessing of yourself, especially when you start seeing guys backstage pumping up and you're like, fuck, I thought I put on a lot of muscle, and now these guys are like way bigger. So yeah, does that answer the question? Was there anything else you...
Well, so how did you feel? Yeah, so how did you feel compared to everyone else on stage? Was there?
Yes.
Yeah, how'd that feel?
I think that's a good question, because for me, I've always been outmassed on stage. Like, I've always been outsized. So my strengths essentially on stage would be condition and probably shape as well, and potentially posing in there as well. So actually, going into the WNBF show this year, knowing that I wasn't 100% conditioned, because obviously I've got quite a long season ahead, so we obviously don't want to be absolutely peeled off the bat. So I was going into that thinking, I'm not quite 100% conditioned, so I'm not bringing my strong suit. But then, coming off of stage, I think looking at the pictures, because I was a bit in two minds about the placing. Again, I got fourth. Against some really respectable competitors, I'll take that. Obviously, going into win, it kind of is a bit like, that's not quite where I want it to be. But moving around on stage, where I was being put on stage, I thought I was actually going to be fifth or sixth. So to then be called up for fourth, I was really happy with that. And then looking back at the pictures, like I said, I was like, fucking hell, do you know what? I've actually held my own here from a size perspective. Don't get me wrong, guy that won, guy that comes second, and even the guy that comes third, all the guys that placed ahead of me were all bigger than me. But, seeing as being the smallest guy has always kind of been in my mind, and actually seeing myself hold up against those guys from a size comparison I was buzzing with that, man. I was buzzing with that. And like you say, that comes off the back of an 18-month off-season, just being as committed as I possibly could. And yeah, hopefully that reflects in the physique. So yeah, hopefully as the season goes on, obviously I'm getting sharper. I'm another 1.5 kilos down from just last week. So I'm just going to hopefully get better as the season continues.
Perfect. I'll say, Connor, have you got any photos on Instagram?
Yeah,
of this?
Of course.
If you mind, Reece, we'll pull up a couple of things from WNBF if you want.
Yeah, man, go for it.
Yeah,
I'm just going to charge my laptop.
In saying that as well, though, what is the gen with the YouTube? What's going on with that? Because I seen that on your story the other day. I was like, no, that's your worst nightmare. The last thing you want of all things.
Mate, it was literally, right, so I think I got a notification or an email or something that was can't remember what it said, but it was basically something along the lines of violating community guidelines, scams.
What scams?
Scams, something else. I think it might have been because I put a link in my bio that was basically for people to sign up to my mailing list. But I was like, people put links in their bios all the time. But
all the time.
I don't... Mate, if I'm honest, I've got no clue what's going on. I've only just started posting as of this year. I've been posting every single week. Bear in mind that I film all the videos on my phone, edit them on my phone, and then delete them afterwards because I want to save storage. So I've not even got copies of the videos, so it's a bit triggering.
Yeah. Oh god,
Right.
that is so
And
frustrating.
they're not responding to my appeals either, so
Yeah.
I've got no clue what the fuck to do from here.
That's
So if
the
anyone
issue though,
knows,
innit?
if anyone knows that's watching, please message me on Instagram and let me know what you can do to unban it.
That's
what I can do.
heartbreaking, man. But yeah, so obviously these are the photos from the WNBF. Have you had any of your actual show shots sent over to you yet?
Nah, I've not bought them. I didn't buy them because I had to make
did
them
you not?
up and take pictures.
Ah, nice, nice.
So I was like, oh, I'll just nick them off other people if they post them.
Yeah. Yeah. uh, hey, nothing's wrong with that.
Hey,
I know
no shame, mate.
Tom Stockton got a good photo of you and Tam, didn't he? Right next to each other.
Yeah, which one was? Oh yeah, what, the ab shot?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, yeah, that was a good shot. That was a good shot. Again, like if you go back on there quickly, you can see a little bit of softness through the midsection. I didn't actually peak for this show either, so I literally just did one day carb up the day before. You know, a little bit of a play around with kind of what we're doing on show day. So I actually had my missus go up to like one of the burger places up the road. Bear in mind, I always try and keep things like pretty clean, or clean, not pretty clean. It is just clean. But we got like a burger patty, like so. I had the bread, but took the bread off, got rid of the onions and shit like that, and just ate like a patty with some sweet potato before. Whether that played a role in, you know, obviously a bit of added sodium, potentially holding a bit of water, because that was about 2 hours pre-stage. But again, like, you know, I'm really happy with that look, despite, you know, not being 100% condition-wise, not actually peaking for the show. So, yeah.
So because you're well known for obviously coming in with that signature condition, aren't you? And the posing as well. Kind of, I think you said yourself bringing that flow to the stage.
Yeah,
So would you say that's definitely where your strengths lie?
100%. 100%. It's just a case of getting there, isn't it? Like, I think up to this point, I think we've done maybe 14 weeks of prep. You know, I always try to keep preps relatively small. I know people like to do really long preps, but, you know, at the end of the day, in natural bodybuilding, if you're staying in a deficit for half the year, you know, are you putting yourself potentially at risk of, you know, more muscle loss? I know there's the argument of it's a little bit of a slower process to come down, so maybe not, but, you know, I think with a prep, you kind of want to be in and out as effectively as possible.
Yeah, 100%.
I winged this eye walk, by the way,
To be fair, it looks good still.
because I thought in WNBF you just had to do the 4/4 turns, and then I saw people doing fucking back. I was looking through the curtain and seeing what people were doing, back doubles, overheads. I was like, fuck it, let's have a bit of fun.
Hey, well,
So
that's the
that's-
thing though. Like,
Yeah.
it does not look like you've winged it at all. So
It's very similar to my routine I did back in 2023. To be fair,
just got that banked in the memory.
literally, man. Literally, I think I did the same routine for like 3 shows or something. So
Love that. Sick, man.
Perfect. Right, Colin,
Right,
do you want to ask the
well-
next one?
Yeah, of course, man. So for overall kind of like mentality, like whilst you're in prep, what kind of helps you lock in like the most? What's like the key thing that you like constantly go back to when you're struggling?
don't struggle. Don't struggle. Tell yourself, you know, me and Kieran just had a bit of a review call before this because obviously I coached Kieran. You know, but we were just kind of talking about a bit of mindset stuff then and just telling yourself it's easy. You know, I said this to Kieran at the start of his prep last year. You know, he's kind of, obviously it was his first prep, probably struggling a little bit. I was like, mate, just tell yourself it's going to be easy. Tell yourself it is easy. All you've got to do is fucking eat, which you do anyway, train, which you do anyway, sleep, which you do anyway. What's the difference besides, yeah, you're obviously suffering and restricting a little bit more, potentially doing a bit more cardio, but that's always the trick. Tell yourself it's easy, but also remind yourself it's a choice. Because you've chosen to do this thing. If anything, it's a privilege that you're in the position to do this whole process of, you know, bodybuilding, going to the gym every day, being able to eat healthy food, afford to eat healthy food. You know, so I think it's start taking a different perspective on it, and rather than making out as if your life's so hard, actually, you've been able to choose to pursue this thing. You know, so that's what helps me. But also, I guess just trying to not think about it or focus on it too much. It sounds silly, I know, because there's so much to do in a prep, but like, I'm really busy with work and things like that, so that helps. Just keep yourself distracted, keep your mind occupied. You know, even when it comes to like being able to chill in the evenings and things like that, take that time to chill. You know, whether you've got, obviously I've got a partner. If you don't have a partner, that's sound, but you know, try not to just make your whole life about the bodybuilding side of things. Like, I always try and watch things on YouTube or Instagram that is nothing to do with, or Netflix, not Instagram, sorry. That's nothing to do with bodybuilding. just because the rest of your day is about bodybuilding, especially as a coach. Like obviously coaching people to get in shape or potentially compete. The whole day is about bodybuilding, so distract yourself from it a little bit. Come away from the typical like, oh, you have to be all in, you have to be locked in, because yes, you do with what you do, with the process you do. But outside of that, can you actually, give yourself a bit of leeway and not put so much pressure on yourself about it?
Yeah, no, 100%. And I feel like the big thing like that I see quite a lot of people is they always go like, it is like, don't get me wrong, yeah, it is hard because otherwise everyone would do it. Like it's pretty simple. It's hard to get stage lean because of other factors, but you don't need to make it harder by constantly thinking it is hard, you know? By like going into it, realistically, let's be honest, the only time that actually becomes difficult, well, at least for me, was the last little bit of digging just before your show.
Yeah, for sure.
That's like the last 3 weeks, 2 weeks, depending on how long you're digging, or just cutting off that little tiny bit of excess water or whatever before you go into that peak. That's where it's hard. But the benefit of it being hard there is I'm 2 weeks out. I'm nearly about to go into a peak week. I'm nearly there. So it then actually becomes easier at that point.
I think the important thing is as well, a lot of people find it hard because of the regimen and the consistency you have to have with nutrition, with training, with meal prepping, things like that. But the trick is to get all that sorted before you start prep. Like, if you are in a build phase, if you're in a maintenance phase, if you've never done it before but you just want to compete as a one-off, fucking do it, but get your shit in order beforehand. Just practice what it's going to be like, because otherwise it's literally like going, oh yeah, I'm gonna train to run a marathon in 6 months' time, but I've never ran before.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like,
yeah,
well, you can't just jump straight into the deep end. You've got to have a bit of routine and consistency there beforehand. Otherwise, it is going to feel like a fucking boulder's just hit you in the head.
Yeah. I think there's also there's a bit going off of that. There's a point of kind of finding the victories in the struggle as well. So it was a quote you said to me during preparation. It was hard shit, it's hard to do. Like, do you know what I mean? If you remind yourself that, mixed with that, with like, it's going to be difficult, but tell yourself it's easy. Tell yourself actually it's a privilege to be going through that struggle, and it's sound, isn't it?
Yeah.
It makes it a hell of a lot easier.
That was it. It's hard to do hard shit or something like that.
Yeah.
Something stupid, but that's also another point, is that not a lot of people are willing to do that. Even the people that you're going to be against up on stage are not going to be willing to go through, like you just said, Connor, like the last couple of weeks. A lot of people aren't going to be willing to fucking dig the last couple of weeks. If you do, you're setting yourself apart. You're putting yourself in the best position possible. And that's what you have to remind yourself.
So that's a big thing. So like I was just before I went into like my last show, and like we came off PCA and we knew what we needed to do to get the dub for the WMBF. I was like, we were doing like fucking an hour of cardio every single day, like barely any food, just to absolutely get as shredded as possible. And there was one time I was on the Stairmaster. I'd just done like fucking 12-hour shift after like all clients, and I was like about to go into just some online calls, and I was like, I need to get an hour of cardio in now before I go into the rest of it when I get back home. And I was like 20 minutes in. And I just stopped the machine, and I was like, I can't do this. I was like, I fucking cannot do this. And I just quickly called Josh, my coach, and he was like, you can stop now if you want to. He was like, but you got to realize that if you get back onto it and do another 40 minutes, as you're supposed to, you just keep remembering that whole 40 minutes, all your other lads that are going to be stepping on stage with you would have just fucked off. They would have stopped at 20 minutes and gone home. And that's what separates you from everyone else, is that you are going to get back on it and do the extra 40 minutes and compound that over every single day. It makes a massive difference. And that's what you need to keep remembering. And that's the whole thing of hard shit's hard to do. Like, as stupid as it is, it's such a good saying. Like, honestly, I live by it. I say it to my clients all the time now. Hard shit is hard to do, because it just is. And everyone, like, it doesn't matter what it is in life, like whether it's like starting a business or getting ready for a marathon or stepping on stage or even just trying to have a healthier lifestyle. Like, it's those little tiny bits where it's so easy to give up, but it is actually so easy to just crack on if you think about it like realistically.
Yeah, yeah. I always say as well to my guys and athletes, and even people that necessarily aren't my clients, it's just you got to focus on the process of, because at the end of the day, if you're always focusing on, whether it's how you look in the mirror or the scale weight or whatever it is, essentially the outcome, you're just going to get in your head and you're going to lose your head. So focus on the process, do the things that you need to do, and it is as simple as that. It's like you've probably spent, in your case, Connor, you probably did 15 weeks of hard cardio every week anyway.
Yeah.
What's different this
what's
week?
different now? Yeah, what's different now? Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Oh, so good.
Yeah, mindset's massive, mate. I think getting on stage or not, if there's someone watching this that isn't getting on stage, but you just want to get in better shape or whatever it might be, I think the action comes first. It always comes from getting in the gym, training hard, doing the meal prep. Like, that's always going to be the hard thing to do first. But the more you do it over time, like I said, I prepped myself for a show when I was 17. So I've had so many reps or so many tries. I'm 26 in a few days. So I've had nearly fucking 9 years of, pushing and pushing and pushing. Like, I've not had this level of resilience, discipline, focus, or whatever you want to call it since then. But just by continuing to push through and do the thing, it eventually gets to the point where it just does become, what's the words? Autonomous. Like, it's just what you do.
Well, so going back, kind of firing back to you being a coach, obviously, how have you found it juggling being a coach and then being in prep at the same time?
I find it kind of works in synergy. It kind of like works together, because I think if I'm showing that I'm doing the do, especially in prep, like, because prep or a diet phase it's instant results, isn't it? It's every week you're changing, every week the weight's coming down or whatever. In a bulk, it's a bit different. It's like, oh, he's just getting fatter. But like, if my clients are seeing me get lean, they're seeing me do the work, they're seeing the food I'm eating, it kind of makes them probably go, oh, I'm going to fucking make sure I'm on my A game. So it works really well. And I also think in prep, you do have a limited, like, fuse, don't you? Like, you do, in the sense of, like, focus and concentration and things like that. Like, I find, like, obviously, I do a group call every Wednesday evening. By the end of the day, mate, I've done check-ins, I've planned the call and done all this stuff. I find myself just stumbling over words and stuff. Like, it's laughable because everyone obviously understands, but that, like, fuse gradually runs out. But I think it just makes you become a bit more like, efficient with your time, maybe. Like, I definitely find within my check-ins, it's more so like I'm just to the point. I tell people how it is. Like, I'm like that anyway, but it's just a bit more direct. And again, I think people, as in clients, I think, like, they probably appreciate the fact that it's just, that's how Reece is feeling. This is the advice. This is what I've got to do. So then it probably reflects on how they act as well. So I think, as I said, I think it kind of works well, both from a coaching perspective, but also then the impact that has on clients as well.
Yeah, no, yeah. There was something that for you, sticking to that same question, did you find it difficult when you were on stage, that when you were prepping that 1 week and when you were getting ready for your show? Was there any point where you also had, like, not difficulties with clients, but clients going through not potentially the same process of stepping on stage, but they were, about to finish a cut, or they're about to do a marathon, or about to do this. They've got their timeline that they've been working for months towards. In that respect, how did you juggle that as well? Like, if you did, or if you were going to, because I know you do obviously have a lot more shows coming up. Is there any timelines that kind of conflict in a way?
I don't think so. I think with me, because again, I've got a coach. Like, I don't self-coach. I've got a coach. I get told what to do. I do it. I don't think about what I've got to do. Besides, I'm hungry, I should probably eat now. I mean, I'm hungry right now. I'm hungry fucking an hour ago. But other than that, like, I don't think about what I've got to do. I just kind of do what I'm supposed to do. So I don't really think about the fact that, this guy's phase is ending, but I'm on stage. I just plan ahead. So I do just phase processes out. So, I might do a check-in and it's like, right, cool, we've got another week until they're going into a maintenance phase. And it's as simple as that. Everything just stays exactly the same. Besides, obviously, day before the show day, and probably the day after, I'm obviously just a bit less available. But other than that, like, coaching process stays the same.
Stays the
Does
same.
that answer?
Yeah.
Does that answer the question?
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, mega. Well, in saying that then, coming off of the WMBF, kind of looking at that, you have touched on it already a bit, but looking at kind of the result of the WMBF, moving on to your next show, does it change your outlook on anything? Or are you just like, yep, okay, that kind of went not 100% as planned again, like, as we always say, you can be a realist, but everyone goes in to win, right? Whether it's realistic or not, everyone does go in to win, right? But due to your placing or kind of like the overall look, what's the plan for the next show, and has it changed in any way?
Again, I don't think about it. I take pride in being very coachable, because that's what gets results, and I know that obviously being a coach. So I've not thought really once about it. Obviously, things creep into your head of like, do we need to make sure we're carbon up and peaking properly for the show and stuff like that. But as per like the change of approach, like I just leave that with my coach. Obviously, since coming off stage, this week has been tightened up. So I've definitely been pushed a bit harder. Calories have come down. You know, I am hitting some very like trace carb days. I wouldn't say no carbs, but trace carb days. You know, so that would be like on my rest days particularly. But yeah, calories have come down. I've tightened up. I've dropped more weight. We're probably going to be peaking a bit more effectively for this coming weekend. So yeah, probably do another like 3 days of loading rather than just one day the day before. But obviously I'm going to be a lot sharper as well. So hopefully that reflects in the look on stage. In regards to like how I'm setting up the week, again, it just stays relatively normal. In regards to like training and coaching and things like that, everything will just stay the same. But yeah, it's just food adjustments, isn't it? Like again, I try not to overthink it, because I know that if I'm sat there overthinking it, you know, I'm going to stress, I'm going to potentially hold on to water, or I'm going to not sleep as well at night. So that's obviously going to affect training, performance, hunger, things like that the next day. So I really just, as much as I do think about it, I really minimise it as much as I can, because it's just not worth it. And that's why it's important to have a coach, right? You know, I've worked with my coach now since my first shows, you know, which was back in 2019. So he knows me very well. He knows how I react. I know I could probably guess what he's going to do in regards to peaking and loading and things like that. So we just work well together because we've got that such long relationship. And from day one, I didn't know what I was doing. So I was just like, I'll just do what he does or do what he says. And then, you know, I won my first 2 shows. Since that point onwards, I'm just like, just do what he says, because it fucking works. And I know, again, coaching multiple clients for stage, do what I say and you will look your best, you know? So it's as simple as that in my mind. I think I'm very good at simplifying things, and I don't know if that says something about me, but I think that's the way to go in bodybuilding sometimes.
Yeah, 100%. Well, at least, no, go for it, Kieran.
I was going to go on to the next question, but you can.
All right, well, so I feel like that's because it was something that when I started coaching, because I've not been coaching for very long, but when I started coaching, I already had Josh, right? Because I kind of like made the switch pretty much basically at the same time, and I had a lot of people basically saying to me, why do you have a coach? Like, you're a PT now, like, you can do this, like, why would you have a coach? And it took me a really long time, genuinely, it took me a long time to kind of actually think of a way of articulating it. Every time I would say it, I would be thinking one thing, but say something else, and people would be like, but that still doesn't change the fact that you shouldn't have a coach. And it kind of didn't get up to the point of realizing it was like, I'm not paying him for his expertise at all. Realistically, like, yes, obviously Josh has got more skin in the game in that, but that's the big thing, is like pretty much everything that he does for me, I could do for myself, as in like programming and all that, but it's the experience of stepping on stage. It's the experience. He's coached many people. He's done it himself loads of times. Like, that's what I've never done. I don't have any experience in it whatsoever. So it's something that I need. And now hearing people say, like, for instance, yourself, you've got a coach. To some people, they'd be like, what? What do you mean he's got a coach? Like, but
You're
it's
obviously
like,
not that good.
yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. That what you just said there is people's, like, 9 times out of 10, people's genuine reaction when I say I've got a coach. They're like, what?
Shall I tell you how I articulate it?
Go for it.
I just say it's because I understand the value of coaching.
Nice and
If
simple.
if I'm a coach and I don't have a coach, isn't that a bit hypocritical?
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
fair one.
Yeah.
Like,
Never
it's
even
like,
thought of saying it like that. That is so, yeah,
and
bang
at
on.
the end of the day, my coach, similar to Josh with you, my coach has been in the game 10 years longer than I have. He's got experience with loads of different clients. He actually typically works with more gen pops, so like general population people.
Yeah.
But that really benefits bodybuilding because the level of nutrition that I get, it's not fucking, I don't want to slag anyone's diets off here, right? But I see some people's prep diets and I just call it like slop a lot of the time. It's like, I love oats, mate, but oats in the morning, pre-workout cream of rice, post-workout oats with rice cakes cracked on top, and then it's like one meal with actual food. And I'm like, mate, you need to chew, you need to eat food, you need to have a variety of micronutrients and protein sources and carbohydrate sources. So coming away, it almost comes away a little bit from the like old school bodybuilding approach, and it kind of puts what I call now like a new school bodybuilding approach in, where it is, no mate, we're eating
food.
We're eating fucking real food.
Yeah.
We're eating proper food.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that actually, again, this is something where I could 100% coach myself to probably, get in the exact same level of condition. But again, it's like an extra person to think about on top of clients. But it's then also these little things that my coach learns after his 10 years of already experience ahead of me. He's still learning, teaching me new things, which then allowed me to try things out. Then I can put that onto my clients as well. So actually, it's like an umbrella of people that it benefits.
Yeah.
It's not just
100%.
And a lot of people are like, oh well, why doesn't Kieran just go to my coach then? And it's like, I don't know, you'll have to ask Kieran that. But I've actually put more people on stage than my coach has. So potentially, I've got more, ground floor experience on show days with getting multiple people on stage, and it's coaching styles and client styles and people you get on with and things like that. So there's so much more that goes into it other than just like, oh well, he must be better than you then, why doesn't your clients go to him? And it's like, ask them.
Yeah, I feel like just one last thing on this point. I feel like a big thing as well though with coaching, it's about a personal experience.
100%.
Like that is a big thing, especially like starting new in the game, walking in a gym, being like, if you realistically look at it, lack of experience. The person next to me has been PTing or coaching for 3 years, and I've been coaching and PTing for a month at that point, right? Not even. But the way I was able to gain clients and everything like that was just the way I approach it, and like the way I coach people and the way I interact people is extremely personal, and I bring in kind of like a bodybuilding-esque training style of like, I'm kind of training with them without training with them. Like, I'm pushing them as if I'm about to get in and do the set myself.
Mate, I used to love PT, man. I miss that shit because I was the same, mate.
Exactly. And that's genuinely what brings people in, right? It's what brings people in, because you on the shop floor, people are looking around, and the only reason why they know you're actually a PT is because you're wearing a PT shirt. That's the only reason how they can like actually identify it. And it's that personal experience. And that's a thing as well, as like, instead of like my clients, who I've got a couple that are wanting to step on stage now, instead of my clients going to Josh, the reason why they're coming to me is because they've followed my journey, they've followed my story, they know me from groups or whatever, or they've seen me on Instagram, and they like the way I am as a person, and they will be able to listen to what I'm saying more with respect because they kind of understand me as a coach more in a way.
Yeah.
And it's the personal side of it.
100%. And I think it's also like a growth thing as well. Like, I've had clients that have been with me from 5 years ago. I work with people now that I used to PT that I've now online coached since I've transitioned to online coaching. I've been working with these guys for, up to 5 years, some of them. But they see how I'm developing my process, how I'm growing, how I'm expanding my knowledge, how I'm developing my physique and my journey that I'm going on. And I think there's just that level there of, as you say, it's that personal connection that you have with someone as well. But also knowing that just because I fucking know you doesn't mean I'm going to not hold you accountable. I'm not going to let you off the hook. I'm going to make sure you're getting the best out of yourself, just like I'm trying to get the best out of myself. I think when a lot of people get content in any realm of life, but particularly from like a coaching perspective, if someone has had a client for a while, like over 2 years, say, a lot of the time it gets content, it gets dry. There's no new approaches, there's no new nutrition setups, or training programming is just exactly the same, or the coaching feedback is exactly the same, and it's just like, at that point, there's probably more to the game that someone could get out of that. Whereas, again, if you as a coach are growing, expanding, changing, trying to evolve things, I think as a client, you probably appreciate that to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100%. Well, going off the bat of obviously talk about training and all that stuff with whether that's yourself or clients, I want to talk about intensity with you, intensity of training. Because obviously, I think it's fair to say within the kind of natural scene, you're kind of gained yourself a bit of a reputation for obviously the intensity you train at and what you kind of promote on your Instagram. Yeah, But what does true intensity mean to you?
Good question.
And also, where do you find it? How do you cultivate it as well?
Putting it plainly, I'll just say, if you train like a pussy, you're going to look like one. Simple as that. If you're trying to bodybuilding, particularly get on stage, or a lot of people that don't want to get on stage and just want to get as big as they can, same rule applies. If you train like a pussy, you're going to look like one. So that's the first thing. I think it's just getting over these little barriers as well that people have of like, oh yeah, I'm almost maxing out the rep ranges, but I'm 1 rep shy, so I'm just going to keep things the same next week. Mate, why? Just fuck it sometimes. You just have to say fuck it. You just have to get out of the mentality of following numbers all the time as well. I think that's a massive thing. Like, it's obviously a huge thing now. Everyone's tracking their training. Everyone's trying to make micro progressions within their training, which is adding a tiny bit of weight or adding 1 or 2 reps, which, yes, is the ultimate goal because that is 2 ways to progressively overload, but there is more than 2 ways to progressively overload. Tempos, pauses, intensifiers, there's probably a load more, right? So it's not just looking at reps or weight to overload, it's actually, can you get in the fucking zone? Can you really push yourself? And if you need to, like, drop the weight a little bit, slow the movement down, add some pauses, And again, it's undermined because people will immediately go, oh, that's science-based.
Yeah.
Well, guess what,
that's
mate?
An interesting point. Yeah.
Taking gear is science-based, mate. They're fucking made in a lab, aren't they? Is that not science-based? Oh, anabolic... Mate, that's science, mate, that teaches people that. It's also science that teaches people that progressive overload across time equals muscle growth. So everything we do within training, nutrition is technically science-based if you want to get into the nitty-gritty. But I think it's taking like a slice of each pie and going old school approach, which is kind of what I was saying earlier about like, it's like the new school approach with training is a slice of that old school. That intensity, that lack of like having to have so much structure with how much you're tracking. Don't get me wrong, I track my sessions, I want to overload, but taking a bit of pressure off of that and implementing a bit of the old school stuff of just like, mate, fucking swing the reps up if you need to on the last couple, on your last set, because why not? What are you going to do? Accidentally grow a bit more muscle by doing that? Do you know what I mean? It's a mentality thing, and I get passionate about it because I think people hold themselves back too much by being too meticulous with the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we discussed that earlier before this podcast, didn't we? With my review, was saying that you have to get to that point where you just say, you know what, fuck it. You've got to push it. You can't focus on the numbers too much. Obviously, they're a factor to consider, but if they're the be-all and end-all of your training, you won't make the progress you need to do.
Exactly. I think a big example of this on myself is I always remember like dumbbell pressing the 50s and like being stuck at 6 reps. Like, you know, when you just try them and you're like, fucking hell, I can only do like 5 or 6. Quite deep into my bulk, I was doing 50s for reps, and I was like, fucking hell, I'm like the strongest I've ever been at. The next session, I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do 55s. Banged out a set of 8. So I was like, right, I'll do another set, like a set of 7 or something. And I was like, just from going, fuck it, I've added 10% to that lift. And then I stayed at 55s for the rest of the bulk phase, which was probably at least a month. But the point is it was 10% heavier than what I was doing before by just taking the plunge and just going, fuck it, let's just see what happens. Obviously, I'm also like an advocate of keeping great form, being in control of an exercise, like things like that, not exaggerating it to the point where you're doing a 4-second eccentric all the time, like very rarely, if anything, to do that, but you know, just be in control of the weight. And as long as you can do that and lift it relatively safely, then mate, just train hard, mate. Have some fun. Like, at the end of the day, that's what we're here for. We're not here to, like, yes, we want to get as much gains out of this as possible, but we're not here to, like, be by the book. We're not scientists, mate. We're bodybuilders. Again, like I said, take a bit of the science, take a bit of the bro, put them together, and, you know, you'll probably enjoy the process and probably grow more muscle at the same time.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like that's the big thing that I find like just comical at this point is intensity, because like people will say like they're training with intensity or whatever, and then I'll post like this week I posted a video of me doing like hack squat, and I literally nearly passed out on it just to get my last rep up, like shaking like a shitting dog. And the amount of people that text me saying like not even joking, like text me saying like, oh, why are you training like that? Oh, what is this, like having a laugh at it. And I'm like, bro, the reason why you're fucking skinny is because you don't train like this. Like, that is the reason. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not training like this every single set. Like, I'm not literally going out, but it's like one of the last exercises I do, and I just finished a set and I went, I've got gas in the tank that I didn't have last week or the week before that. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to load it up a little bit more, give myself a little bit more rest, and I'm just going to fucking go for it. Like, and sometimes, like, that's where you'll see, like, major progress, and I just don't understand why people. I feel it's because it's like villainized to a certain degree, not intensity, but like, oh, if you really, really, really push yourself, your form's just gonna go to shit, or you're just ego lifting, or this, or this, or this. It's like it's only ego lifting if your form goes to complete shit on the first rep, right? But if you're doing 10 reps and your last 2 reps look like crap, it's not the end of the world, because you did 8 perfect reps. And then the last 2 reps, your form went to shit a little bit, but you made progress. And mentally, you've just unlocked 2 reps in your head now.
I put it this way, I say if your form's perfect for your whole set, you're not training hard enough.
No,
Like,
yeah, 100%.
If you've got 2 sets or 3 sets in an exercise, focus on the numbers, on the reps on the first 1 or 2 sets, right? Final set, fucking go balls out, mate. Go balls to the walls, go as hard as you can. That's what I always do. The first couple sets, I try and make those minimal progressions. I try and add a rep. Excuse me. I try and add a rep or so. Then that final set, I'm like, I'm going to fucking max out here. I'm going to at least add 1 rep. Or try anyway. But then, you know, you just turn off all senses at that point, and it's just like, just keep going, keep form as good as possible, and then as soon as you need to, a little bit of momentum, little bit of cheating in there if you need to, just to get an extra 1 or 2 out. You know, then you can leave that set. You can put that machine down or put the weights down and leave that set, knowing that you've probably made a bit of an impact there.
100%.
And I guess that's another mentality shift within training over the past couple of years for me is, you know, when you are on the hack squat and you know you've left 1 in the tank or 2 in the tank, and as soon as you, because it feels horrible in there, right? But as soon as you rack it and you step out, and you've not gone like that,
Yeah.
you kind of go, should have done 1 more or 2 more then. Like, I don't ever want to feel like that again on the last set. Like, I don't ever want that feeling of, I could have given a little bit more. So I think it is sensible, 1 or 2 sets, and then, you know, just give it some beans, mate, because what are you going to be in there for? 40 seconds? Maybe a minute if it's a high rep set.
Well, that's the thing. The biggest thing with that as well is like literally, what is the worst that's going to happen? Unless you're an idiot and you're like fully hyperextending your knees at the top of the rep. But the worst thing that's going to happen on a hack squat or like a leg press or something, I guess it depends on what type of machine it is. But you're going to be stuck at the bottom. Okay, just move away from it. It's not like it's going to absolutely flatten you. Machines aren't like machinery in like work environments where it's designed to literally just completely flatten metal.
Yeah, true.
It's designed for you to be able to get out the bottom. Like on a hack squat, you can easily just get up, take the weights off, and reset it. Like, but people are so petrified. Oh, I know I'll be able to do one more, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it up at the bottom, so I'm just going to stop. Well,
A lot of people get worried about other people. Again, we're bodybuilders, so I think we're a slight offset of that, where we don't care if we fail. But a lot of people get worried about
yeah.
that aren't at that level yet. They're like, oh yeah, but this guy's gonna think I'm weak, or this guy's gonna think I don't know, I don't know how to train properly. And it's like, change that mentality again. Achieving failure, mate. Achieving failure is what you're supposed to do. That's how you grow muscle, by getting to that point. So actually, if you failed at the bottom, well done, mate.
Yeah. And
Well
most likely,
done.
that person you were worried that's going to think you're weak is going to turn around and go, fucking fair play, bro. You
Yeah.
smashed that. Like, in actual fact, that's what's going to happen.
100%. 100%. Again, it's a mentality shift, isn't it? It's getting out of your own head, and just understanding what your goals are and what you need to do to get to that point.
100%. Well, we absolutely smashed like 3 or 4 questions there. So that was sick. Well, moving on to the next one then, still kind of with like in the mindset kind of area. Mindset wise, what kind of separates a good bodybuilder or even a bad bodybuilder, but like all three, a bad bodybuilder, a good bodybuilder, and like a great bodybuilder? What would you say mindset wise, or even just like anything? Like what separates it?
It's a good question. Aside from the physique, obviously. Because obviously the physique is a thing. If someone's a bad bodybuilder, they probably don't look very good on stage. Aside from that, I think it's just taking yourself to that place that you need to get to the respectable level of condition or size that is required to place well, or at least look good on stage. That, again, what people have to remember is that like difficulty is a perception thing. If there's a guy that's been homeless for 15 years, starving all his whole life, and he's turned his life around, and then he's decided all of a sudden to become a bodybuilder, him probably getting in the trenches probably doesn't feel that hard.
Mm-hmm.
For someone that's got not much like life experience or whatever, getting in the last 2 weeks of a prep might be the hardest thing they've ever done, which it was for me when I was 19 probably, or at least up there anyway. So I think it's just being able to get to that level you need to be at in your head, where you are just working hard, you are pushing yourself really hard, and you're probably doing shit that you've not done before, and being able to do that for time. I think that's what makes a great bodybuilder. Again, like, you're not necessarily going to be the leanest on stage because you've done the most cardio out of everyone, or because you've eaten the least food, So I think it's just a case of doing what you need to do and doing it effectively and doing it well. Following your coach's orders. And it's as simple as that, mate, I think.
Just doing the do, basically.
Yeah, man.
Just
Pretty
do
much.
the do consistently.
Yeah, and then, again, what makes it better is taking it past prep. Like you said, like you might do your first show, you might have done a little bulk, done your first ever show, and then it's like, right, but can you continue that for the next year or two that you're going to take off? And then again, when you do the next show. And again, this is where bodybuilding becomes a lifestyle, because everything you do in a day obviously contributes to that level of result you're going to get. From your sleep, obviously, to the types of food you eat, to the amount of food you eat, obviously to your training intensity. All these little bits are going to contribute to that end thing, the end outcome. So it's the longer you can do that for as accurately as possible, the better of a result you're going to get, and that's what makes a good bodybuilder. Again, everyone looks at the massive guy, the genetically gifted guy with the round, full muscle bellies. I'm sure he's been fucking committed as well, but genetics at a high level is obviously going to play a part into who's placing first, second, and third. But again, I think the hard work always shines through, and the hard work will always outdo that, do that like natural talent, particularly in bodybuilding. Maybe not for the first 1, 2, 3, 4 years, but down the line, when that guy that just grafts day in, day out has been doing that for 10 years, that guy will then eventually overtake the guy that has probably been taking his foot off the gas because he's genetically gifted.
Yeah.
Nice. And do you feel that that's kind of why the natural federations are almost, it's probably a bit of an assumption, but you see it quite often where natural competitors will come in looking a lot tighter than the untested guys at these big shows? Do you think it is the mindset that natural competitors come into their off seasons and their preps with that maybe the untested guys aren't doing?
Yeah,
set
possibly.
themselves aside from that. Yeah.
Yeah, possibly. Obviously, there's always that typical thing of like, are they relying on the fact that they're enhanced? Oh yeah, I'm going to be bigger than everyone, so it's sound. You know, or I think as well though, as naturals, like you've got less stress going on from like obviously these guys. Again, I'm not slating anyone here, but these guys jabbing needles. I don't know how often. Is it once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week? Is it twice a day? However often, that's got to cause some sort of stress, which is inevitably going to increase cortisol potentially, make you hold water between the skin and the muscles. So whether it's that maybe doesn't make them look as lean, I don't know. But then, yeah, I think in natural federations there is such an emphasis on condition, because you're not going to be absolutely massive. Like for a natural, you might be absolutely massive, but in the grand scheme of things, you're probably not that big. So condition is emphasised for sure. So I think, mate, it's actually so good to see. I fucking love it because it's almost like being natural. Like in your gym as a natural, like with a baggy t-shirt on, you probably don't even look like you compete, right? 9 times out of 10, unless you're just a freak, or unless you're in prep and you're just shredded and you've got a vest on. But then a lot of the guys on gear will probably, again, assumption, might look at you and just think, oh, you're not as much of a bodybuilder as me because I'm fucking massive. But when actually you look at the level of package that's on stage, I just fucking love the natural scene, mate. Because again, the top guys that are doing so well, shredded to the absolute bone, and you just do not see that. Even on the Olympia stage, mate. Thompson Dowder, mate, he's not got striations through his fucking chest and his glutes. But then you've got, you know, whoever on stage at WMBF, and it's just like everywhere. It's just lines.
Oh, mate, it was the it was like Maximilian, I think his name was, who won the he was a pro, but I think it was the first proper like pro show for the WMBF for bodybuilding. Mate, fucking hell. Like, bro just turned up with just skin, skin and muscle. Barely had any skin. You might as well have just fucking anatomy man right there. Like,
crazy.
Holy shit, bro. I was looking at that. Oh, mate, it was insane. I was like, what even is that?
You just don't get that standard, mate, do you? Like, anywhere, like, it's just not at the fucking level of natural. I love it, man.
Yeah.
So good.
We were saying this sick. We said this to Josh on the last episode, didn't we?
Yeah.
That if you put that, let's say the pro lineup, especially, the natural pros against any untested lineup, I think you've definitely chosen the natties.
Mate,
because, as I said, they come in with that ridiculous look. You had people like Jovan, Darius, all the guys that were up there, even Josh. They're all you were pros for a reason. Holy shit.
It's such a
And you
polished
just don't
look,
see
though.
the standard.
Yeah.
Because it's like small waist. There's no fucking like. Again, I'm not slating guys on gear, but this is typically what you see, right? Like, there's no skin issues. There's no acne. There's none of that like grainy skin hardness. It's just like natural small waist, great midsection, taper, skin looks good, tan looks good, the condition's on point. And again, it's apples and oranges comparisons, isn't it? Like, obviously, I can't pronounce his name. Is it Jovan?
Jovan, yeah.
Jovan that won, and then the guy that got second. Again, it's apples and oranges. My personal preference, I prefer that V-taper shape. I prefer the guy that comes second, personally. But again, it's like, it could have gone either way. Because it depends what you're looking for. But, like, just the way everyone looked, particularly that top 3, it's just perfect physiques, man.
Yeah, insane, man. Insane. So, done a lot about motivation and stuff like that. So kind of moving on to the last little bits, mainly thinking about like coaching and influence. Again, we kind of already touched a lot of this anyway. But the kind of way you train yourself, which I know what the answer is going to be, but the way you train yourself and that, is it a major thing for you coaching wise that all your clients are sticking to the kind of standards that you are? Obviously not straight away, but depending on what level they come in at, is the main goal just to push them and kind of push your mentality onto them as well?
Yeah, 100%. Again, I think a lot of training is psychological. People psych themselves out for one reason or another. So, a lot of what I do, like behind the scenes, whether that's in check-ins, or whether that's on group calls or over messaging, like it is a mentality thing. Because again, I've always trained super hard. Like from 15, 16, I've always trained hard, I've trained heavy. But obviously, as time goes on, you just get better at training. You learn how to perform better, isolate a muscle better, train harder, because you realise how far you can take yourself. So I do also say that to people. I'm like, look, you're not going to be as good at training right now as you will be next year, because you're just gradually going to get better over time. But the more you put emphasis on trying now, the better you're going to get faster. Therefore, that's going to start to reflect in your physique faster. So I think that's an important thing, definitely within my coaching, that I push people to do, is just fucking try, mate. Just try.
Yeah.
And also like training videos as well. Like I do get people to send me training footage on a weekly basis, essentially. Obviously not everyone does every week, but I think that's really important to do, because it just gives, again, like I'm sat here on camera watching someone reviewing them, and I'm literally there going, go on, two more, and then they'll put the weight down, and I'm like, mate, if I was there shouting at you then, you would have got two fucking more.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's just those little things where then I kind of hope that they're doing that set the next week and they can hear me going, two more. Do you know what I mean? So it's just little tricks like that whether it helps or not, in my head, that's kind of how I hope it helps.
Yeah.
Well, final question then, mate. If you could leave one message to aspiring bodybuilders, aspiring bodybuilders or just the general populace who just want to get fit, in good shape, about training and intensity, what would that be?
About training and intensity? Oh, mate, good question.
And mindset as well. Sorry, mate.
I don't want to sound basic at all with this answer, but it's going to be basic.
Do it.
Mate, fire it off.
I would say just fucking start, and then when you start, try not to stop. Because the reason you have probably not got to where you wanted to be in the past is because you've lost the momentum, because you stopped or you slowed down too much, and it's hard to build that momentum and that traction again. So just fucking start if you haven't already, and if you have started, just don't fucking stop. Stay in the game, keep doing the thing. It doesn't have to be perfect. None of us, all three of us here, it's not fucking perfect, mate. But the only reason that we are where we are is because we've continued to do the thing, whether it's been at 50% or 100%. So I think if you haven't started, start. If you have started, just don't fucking stop, because, down the line, you're going to thank yourself for that.
100%, yeah. Consistency is king over everything. Yeah.
Couldn't have worded it better.
Come on.
Hope that wasn't too basic.
No, definitely
not. Basic at all.
Definitely not. Oh, man. Well, it's been lovely to have you on, man. Unreal, man. I really, really appreciate you giving us the time. But we will be putting all your details in the bottom. But from yourself, where can people kind of find you?
Firstly, thanks guys for having me on. Appreciate it.
Pleasure.
What do you say? Where can people find me? Instagram, Reece.kiffcoaching. Kiff is Kyff, so Reece.kiffcoaching. I think I've got TikTok is just Reece Kyffin. I should probably change that to Reece.kiffcoaching. By the time you watch this, there might be Reece.kiffcoaching, so search that first. And then YouTube.
Pending.
Reece Kyffin, just search my name, Reece Kyffin. A couple of my stuff will come up because PCA have posted me somewhere before.
Fingers crossed.
Hopefully I'm back. If I'm not back and you're trying to find my YouTube, I am trying to post things about prep, like vlog style stuff, informative stuff about getting in better shape. So the idea is that it's just longer form content of me probably going into a bit of mindset training stuff. If you search me and it's not there and you know how to unban someone or help them unban themselves, please let me know.
Get on that. Yeah.
But mainly Instagram, man. Mainly Instagram.
Sick. Awesome, man. Yeah, again, it's been a pleasure, and yeah, we really appreciate you coming on. But that brings us to the end of today's podcast. So really appreciate you coming on, and we really appreciate everyone for following along the podcast. Again, we've only just started, but the support that we've been getting from everyone, and some very well established people in the bodybuilding world, giving us the time out of their day to jump on the podcast is really appreciated as well. So thank you to everyone. Please do go and check out Reece's stuff down below in the description. He would very much appreciate it. But yeah, make sure you like, comment, follow over. Make sure you check out our Spotify as well. Everything's over there. And yeah, that brings us to the end of today's podcast. So thank you.
Sweet. Cheers, guys.